Hello.
Hello.
So, what brings you to the conference?
NSTA came to learn more, anything I can learn about science, so I can help students and teachers learn more information about science, especially STEM. Uh, the integration of technology, math, engineering.
Why is that important to you, bringing that back to community, for instance?
Well, it's important to me because if you look at the world, you see it's more and more technology. So like everybody has to know how to use it. And so if we're not teaching the kids how to use it effectively, we're doing them a disservice. So they won't be prepared to be workers and be productive in the future.
And if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you do specifically?
Well, I am a science coordinator, and what I do, I go out and I help teachers teach science in the classroom.
Ah,
So I
okay.
go out in the classroom and I tell teachers, hey, try this strategy, do this activity, and then sometimes I demo and I coach the teachers on how to do it.
So you give them maybe a different perspective than their own perspective a little bit, or?
Maybe sometimes if it's needed, but usually I'm just there. Like if you're teaching the water cycle, I'm gonna give you some innovative ways to teach it, give you some engaging strategies on how maybe we're gonna do a water cycle rap, or maybe we're actually gonna have them model the water cycle, and so stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you in that field?
Well, I was a science teacher.
Okay.
So from being a science teacher, I had a science coach who did the same thing for me. And so the opportunity arose for me to move up. And I said, oh man, that'd be a great opportunity to help teachers and help students at the same time.
What inspired you to get into teaching, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, it was great teachers that I had in the past.
Why do you think that's important? Having a good role model or a teacher.
It's so important. Everybody needs somebody to look up to, need a mentor, or somebody that you gauge yourself and how you're doing, and even encourage you. Honestly, it was a teacher that told me like, hey, you can be a scientist. No, I can't be no scientist. I don't even like science like that. But just from her telling me that, just put that spark like, oh, well maybe I could. And so it was motivating. Then again, good teachers just pouring into me and motivating me to do like, hey, you can do this. You are good in science. You can do this. So that's the reason why I ended up being a science teacher.
That's great. Can you remember like the one maybe like science project or the one science related topic that you were like, okay, I want to be in this field as a career?
Well, actually, it was I did one in psychology. I had to do this was in high school. I did a report on the effects of music and behavior, and so I had to do research on it. Just reading it, it like made me reflect on like, what do I listen to? How is this music affecting me? And so it was just it was kind of new research at the time. So it wasn't like a whole lot of studies, but the few studies that I were able to find at the time, it was just so interesting to me that people were actually studying this, and that there was some validity to like the music have an effect on your mood and your behavior. So yeah, that was like it for me. Like wow, like yeah, this is some cool stuff.
That definitely sounds inspiring, for sure. And what's like one thing that you've learned here that you look forward to bringing back to your community?
So far today, I learned about different ways to incorporate informal science educators, those are things like museums, zoos, and to get them involved in the campuses and in the schools. That was one thing. Another one was diversity, being culturally responsive to your students, letting them know that their culture is valid and relevant in the classroom. So those two.
Diversity, I think that is really big, in the learning field, and maybe creating barriers, right? I would feel like, how do you see us moving forward with that said, what's one thing maybe that is kind of holding us up in communities from being able to like get over that hurdle?
Honestly, I think just everybody just doesn't take on the responsibility of being culturally responsive in their classroom. So we all have a responsibility as a teacher to be culturally responsive to your students. If you're not doing it, then you're doing your students a disservice. You could be possibly hurting your students. So it's just the fact of everybody acknowledging it, learning on strategies and things to be more culturally responsive in your teaching. Yeah, some people just don't acknowledge it at all, and so that's scary.
Definitely scary is, I think, the only one word to say. What is something that you learned new that you're looking forward to research in the future, like going home?
A lot of research in the future.
That you maybe learned today that you're like, wow, I want to look more into that.
Actually, so the one thing I will do is DOD, Department of Defense. They actually have a bunch of programs and services that they offer for free, like competitions and things for students that I was not aware of. And so that is something I'll go look into and see if I can get people in my district and students involved in. Department of Defense, yeah, they have educational plan for K-12 students as far as for teachers and students, competitions and activities and programs. Didn't know that.
Okay, sweet. Well, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. And thank you for giving back to the community as well.